People are afraid of commitments and taking on religious vows. And people who are afraid of taking religious vows and taking any type of religious commitments, they're afraid because it's not that they will fail. It's because they're afraid to take responsibility for their action. They think that if they don't take the vows and they do something negative, it's not so bad. They think that if they take the vows and they break those commitments, it's really bad. You see, whether you take the vows or not, you're going to do negative actions. You're going to do positive actions. Whether you take the vows or not. And being afraid to take the vows, even you're 100 years old, you say, I'm not ready. When are you going to be ready? You know, you're not exactly a spring chicken. So you're 100 years old, you're in a wheelchair, your teeth has fallen out, you can't hear anything. They write you, are you ready to take refuge vows? And you write back, scribbly of course, shaking, I'm not ready. When are you going to be ready? After you make your $1 million, $10 million, when are you going to be ready? After your ugly girlfriend leaves, when are you going to be ready? Your nightmare husband drops dead, you get the insurance, and you fly to Tibet and look for a guru? When are you going to be ready? Being ready and not ready is not age or time or place. It is how much we take responsibility. People who don't wish to take refuge vows, they're not bad. They're not bad people. What they are is they're people who cannot take responsibility. Why? Because there's an impetus and there's a reason now for them to challenge themselves. There's a reason. So they're afraid to take the vows. You see, if you take the vow with Tsem Rinpoche, oh, now Tsem Rinpoche is my guru and I gotta do everything he says and I'm afraid. Why would you even consider taking vows with Tsem Rinpoche if you think he's a psychomaniac? If you think Tsem Rinpoche is going to harm you and to get you back, or is going to slice your head off, or is going to make you run up and down the street naked, most of you, I would not. Why would you even consider taking vows? You see, vows is not about the person giving you the vows. Vows is not a commitment between you and the person, really. Vows is taking it from a person who has the vows, who somewhat you respect, and that can guide and inspire you and help you and teach you, but not give you their enlightenment. I'm not enlightenment, but give you enlightenment. Mine that I don't have, or a enlightenment. Taking vows doesn't mean after I take the vows, everything's fine. Nothing bad can happen to me. Nothing negative can happen to me. Nothing ugly and evil can happen to me. No. Taking a vow is an affirmation between you and your spiritual mind to say, I'm going to take responsibility for my life from now on. Because no one can take responsibility for me. And how do I take responsibility for my life? I take responsibility for my life by, when I take refuge vows, I will learn the Dharma. And what I learn, I will apply. After I take the refuge vows, I will take responsibility for my negative habits. I will openly and honestly look at my negative habits. I don't have to go and announce it. I will honestly, openly look at my negative habits, and all of us have it. And think about what harm it has done others in the past, and what harm it can do to others in the future. And then after I take the refuge vows, I will not use family, work, money, responsibilities, commitments as an excuse for furthering my spiritual accomplishment and attainment. A person that has taken refuge vows will be very different. Where they take it, with whom they take, where they take and with whom they take, makes no difference. Because it's about yourself. It's about yourself. So therefore, when we take refuge vows, we have to be very sincere and earnest. In what? Sincere and earnest that we want to take responsibility for our lives. We want to do something about our emotions. We want to do something about the way we talk with people, the way we think, the way we act in our reaction. I want to take responsibility for this. Wanting to take responsibility for this, then we take refuge vows, where we take 12 layman's vows, which are very normal and natural. Very normal. Not killing, not stealing, not lying. White lies can. Example, if you have a nasty little friend who always wants to jip you and cheat you and take you out so that you can pay for it, they call you up and say, no, I'm busy, but you're not busy. That's okay. That's a little white lie. I do that sometimes. That's all right. If a hunter comes and asks you, hey, where did the deer go? Because I want to kill it. And it went this way. You say it went that way. That's okay. I mean, don't be, oh, I'm a Buddhist now. I took vows and deer went that way. There's a vow that when it's necessary to break your vow, you don't break your vow, you break a vow. Yes, in Tantra. In Bodhisattva vows. If you have to break your vow, you don't break your vow. For a good reason, then you've broken a vow. I wanted to be sneaky and ask my guru, I'm really poor, I need to steal just this once. Is that all right? Because if I don't, I can't help people. But I didn't want to get that evil, squinty-eyed glare from my Lama. I was like, I dare not. Having a fear of taking vows. Having a fear of taking vows is having a fear of committing to doing something good. Why? We may know our habits. We may know we're greedy. We may know we're lazy. We may know that we're a procrastinator. We may know that we're someone that makes excuses. We may know that we're someone that just doesn't want to push ourselves to make an effort. So we are afraid of taking vows. But there's a positive side. People who are afraid of taking vows and commitments, they're actually very good. Why? They're actually people that when they take it, they will hold it. Why? If they didn't have the vows and commitments in high regard, they wouldn't be afraid. They just sit there and go, okay, whatever, I won't do this, I won't do that, I won't do the vows over. And the next day, they're back to normal exactly as they are. So people who are actually afraid of taking vows, the way to approach them is not to scold them or to tell them off or tell them how stupid and silly they are. The way to approach them is to explain why they're afraid, from whence the fear comes from, why they shouldn't be afraid. Why? Because they respect it so much, that's why they're afraid. That's why they're afraid. Sometimes when we go to court, they make them, in the US, they make you swear on the Bible. After they swear, some people are very afraid because they're God-fearing. Some people, they don't care, they're whatever. They don't care. So what happens is, taking vows is something very personal. It is a commitment that we feel that I want to make a change. I want to do something about myself. I want to make a vow. And I'm not going to swear December 31st, midnight. How many New Year's resolutions have we made? New Year's resolutions don't work. Do you know why? Because they don't commit to anything or anyone. There's nothing there to hold us. But when we commit to a Buddha, when we commit to God, or we commit to Buddha, in this case, let's say Buddha, we feel there's a bigger pull and there's a more holy pull. Why? If we can prostrate in front of the Buddha and collect merits, if we can do meditations on the Buddha and we can achieve inner growth, then definitely doing something detrimental to a Buddha, although he won't get us back, there will be detrimental results because we have made a promise in front of something that can grant something positive, or we twisted it around. So therefore, some people say, well, then I won't take a vow. If you don't take a vow, for real practitioners, if you don't take a vow, there's no basis for any of attainments to arise. No attainments. Do you think it's no big deal if I don't have any attainments arise? I'll take care of my family, I'll take care of my work, I'll take care of this, I'll take care of that. After that, I'll take vows and maybe I'll get attainments. Most likely not. People who wait till they're older, or people who wait till all commitments are finished, either way, usually are not very good vow holders. I'll tell you why. Their habituation of a lifetime is too strong. Very, very strong. Secondly, those type of people that have trained their minds to focus or think in a certain way, it's very hard to break that. Very, very hard. I mean, how can you be thinking about money, making money for 30 years, and then all of a sudden you just say, I take a vow and I stop. I'll be committed. Definitely not. I haven't seen that yet. Most likely not. How come for 30 years you think about, I want to get a beautiful, fabulous partner partner. All of a sudden, when you're 40 or 50, you say, oh, I don't want partners anymore. I want to take vows. A, there might be something medically wrong with you, so you have no choice to take the vows, right? I don't know. Or B, you've been disappointed. But it doesn't mean it was a good reason why you took the vows. So people who usually wait till their commitments are finished, even when they take the vows, because so much time has been wasted, and the learning capability becomes less, even when they take the vows. Even if they recognize something wrong that they need to correct or make better, it's very, very difficult. Why is it very difficult? A lifetime of habituation. And that lifetime of habituations that I've spoken about before in previous talks is a trigger, an environmental trigger to many previous lives' dispositions that open up in this life. So many previous lives, all we've been interested was to chase money or chase wealth or chase for food or appearances. If we've always been interested in for many lifetimes in previous lives, this life, the minute we get into that habit, is very hard to break. Why is that very hard to break? Because this lifetime of being in it for so many years triggers many lifetimes of being into it. So therefore, the hard habit becomes even more double hard to break. So to wait to take the vows is quite dangerous. Why? We may not be able to. Physically, we may not be able to handle it. How much practice can we actually do later on? And also, instead of fighting the habituations we have now, it will be compounded year after year after year after year after year. So we have many years of compounded habituation. Even some people have taken the vow. Some people have taken in very holy places, very holy lamas, but those people, myself included, should check themselves. Since I've taken my refuge vows up till now, has my spiritual practice increased? Has my time for spiritual practice increased? Can I do spiritual practice without people prompting me, pushing me, negotiating with me, or begging me, cajoling me, bribing me, or threatening me? Will I do the spiritual practice on my own, or I still need the outer support? If you take in spiritual vows, and you still need people to prompt and push and prompt and push and prompt and push you, and you see no results yourself, then you know what category you fall into. If you know you fall into that category, you must expect the results of falling into that category. There's no omnipotent deity out there that punishes you or rewards you. It comes from your own actions and its results. If there was an omnipotent deity who actually punishes, then all people who do wrongdoings would be punished, and we would not need rule of law. None. If there was an omnipotent deity that actually rewards us, then we have seen in our lives many people that were very good, but got the short end of the stick or suffered tremendously. And we can talk it away by saying it's mysterious, or we don't really understand what's going on. There is nothing to understand because it's based on illogic. There's nothing to understand. It's totally illogic. If there's an omnipotent deity that controls, that manipulates and maneuvers all workings of beings, then there should definitely be no suffering. No suffering at all. There should be no problems. And everybody who is born must be born equally the same. Everybody who is born must be the same and equal, with the same head start. You can't be a father and mother and have 5 kids. 3 kids you give a big amount. 1 kid you give a small amount, and 1 kid you give nothing. And then you say, well, whatever happens in the end is up to you. You can't have 1 kid that's handicapped or blind and deaf, and then the other kid, all his faculties are totally all right. And then they go out, and one doesn't make it, it still depends on mommy and daddy, and the other one has made it. And you say, see, you're a loser, you're not. If there's an omnipotent deity, there will be none of that. None of that. How can there be? And then, if we're giving free choice, if we are given free choice, and we can choose and pick as we like, how can we have free choice when we're born in a jungle somewhere, naked, running around with spears, with bones going through our noses and our ears. And we eat our neighbors because, they got on our nerves. Personally, I wouldn't eat people who got on my nerves. I'd throw them out. But anyways, think about that. So if you're born somewhere in some jungle, naked, with spears, with bones through your noses, and no one's taught you how to have correct freedom of thinking, and you just do as you like, then if your whole life passes in negativity, killing and murder and rape, slaughtering, aggression and fighting and burning other villages, and your whole life has passed in that, then do you go to hell? If you go to hell, whose fault is that? Who put you there in the first place? Who put you in that situation? They say, well, you had free will. That's not fair. If you're born next to a temple or a church and they teach you what's right and wrong, that's fair, right? But if you're born out in some jungle and no one's ever seen you and you don't know that civilization exists and civilization doesn't know you exist, then if you do all these things, you go to hell simply because you don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. Illogical, unfair. So therefore, it would have to be a different type of thinking. That other thinking must be based on action. Action that we do. And those bring results. And therefore, because each one of us is unique and different, and each one of us create different types of actions that would very logically surmise that it creates different results. And therefore, all of us have different types of results. Example, if we lie a lot, and we say things that are not true, and we say things that always for our own advantage to cover our faults, and we lie again and again and again, it is said, by the power of lying, one will always be around friends that deceive one. One will always be with partners and people that deceive and that trick and that use us. One second is when we speak, it will have no power. People will not listen. And people will not take credence, or people will not take any type of weight in what we say due to lying. An accumulation of lying can result in us being mute in future lives. Mute, unable to speak or talk. At this level, 100% we say, oh yes, that's it. Difficult for most of us. We need some type of penetrative wisdom. We need some meditation. But for most of us, we can think, that makes more sense. That makes more sense because why? Then you have to take responsibility for yourself. And therefore, when people harm you, you've created the causes in previous lives and this life for harm to come. And so when you're in that situation, an environmental cause opens up, and therefore that harm can come to you. Because why is some of us always deceived? Why is some of us not deceived? Why some of us talk and it has a lot of power, and some of us talk it doesn't? What can be the cause of that? Because there's an omnipotent God pulling strings? Or is it that it is self-created? If we think that it's self-created, whether at this point it is self-created or not, doesn't matter. Whether at this point it is self-created or not, it doesn't matter. Why? Because this type of theory and thought makes us take responsibility and let go of anger. How does it make us take responsibility and let go of anger? How? Because if we have created the karma to receive this type of result, the ultimate author and doer was ourselves. So everybody else was just caught in the crossfire of the opening of our karma or the ripening of our results. So that way, when we think about it, we can let go. That's why His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, on that type of thinking and basis, we can let go of a lot of anger. Then you're thinking, but that might be right, that might be wrong. It doesn't matter at this point whether it's right or wrong. At this point, it is important to diffuse anger, to diffuse the way we react with others, to diffuse negative actions that might arise from anger. That's what's important right now. And so how do we diffuse something like anger? How do we diffuse? We diffuse it by having a different perspective. If we're brought up in a philosophy that says, you harm me, I must get revenge on you to have honor, and we're fed that, then it doesn't end. I get you, you get me, I get you, you get me, I get you, and it can go for generations. And it can spread to villages, it can spread to different provinces and cities, it can spread to different nations, and the nations can be at war and fighting all the time. Why? Because there's this kind of thinking and philosophy, I get you, you get me. But if you have this kind of thinking that the actions that I experience has a cause, if you work, then you will move up in your company. You have an action that results in a cause. So therefore, people who don't work hard in the company, who move up because they're relatives of the boss, they don't do well in their positions. Even if they get those positions, they don't do very well. So my point is, if you realize that you're the author and you're the cause of what's happening to you, if you realize that, a whole different perspective, a whole different view, and a whole different type of mind arises. Then you think to yourself even more deeper, wait a minute, if I'm the cause of it, then I can remove it. If I can remove it, let me learn how. And that would be a very good reason to engage in spiritual practice. That would be a very good reason to adopt a religious path. That would be an excellent reason for taking refuge or for taking vows. So therefore, if we think that we are the author, now let's investigate further. How is that? Action. Preceded by motivation. Preceded by thought. What kind of thought? Thought that is habitual. This thought results in action. This action results in result. And the result comes back. And it goes round and round and round. We can talk about prayer. We can talk about meditation. We can talk about reciting mantras. We can talk about going to a sacred place and doing pujas. We can talk about all that. Those are all supplementary. Going to a church, going to a temple, listening to Dharma talks or ceremonies, taking refuge or doing practices or meditations and prayers, those are really wonderful, but those are only supplementary. They're supplementary to what? To learning. Only supplementary. Why? The only way we can transform to change the reality around us is by knowing the method. The only way we can know the method is we learn. And the only way we can learn is from someone or a being who's achieved that state of mind. That state of mind is called enlightenment. And that has to be a Buddha. There are male Buddhas, there are female Buddhas. It isn't just a historical Shakyamuni. Buddhahood is a state of mind. It's a title given to someone who's achieved that level. For example, Prime Minister. A Prime Minister can be that of any country. It doesn't have to be just this wonderful country. It can be any country when you say Prime Minister. So when we refer to Buddha, it means any enlightened being. Any enlightened being. So therefore, we have fear of taking vows because we fear we'll lose freedom. But that's wrong thinking. Actually, we don't have freedom. We really don't have freedom. None of us. It's only some of us take it for granted. Some of us think about it more. Some of us don't think about it more. We all don't have freedom. We don't have freedom from catastrophes. We don't have freedom from aging. We don't have freedom from physical deterioration. We don't have any freedom from illness and sickness. We don't have any freedom from financial disasters. We don't have any freedom from our anger. We don't have freedom from our jealousies and our attachments. We don't have any freedom from our gluttony. We don't have any freedom from desiring sleep. We don't have any freedom from greed. Actually, we don't have any freedom. People think we have freedom because they don't know any better, but they don't have freedom. Why? When we engage in those actions, there's not a God or a Lama or a father or a priest that tells you, oh, bad, bad, good, good. Whether there's a person telling you good or bad, those actions will create negative circumstances for us. Understanding them and not understanding them makes no difference. Why does it make no difference? Because they are inherently negative. Inherently. Things that are not inherently negative, for example, drinking. Drinking alcohol, surprisingly, yes, is not inherently negative. Engaging in copulation is not inherently negative. Wanting to wear nice clothes is not inherently negative. Shouting is not inherently negative. For example, a mother who loves a child and uses forceful means to train the child because it's very stubborn. Shouting. All these actions are not inherently negative. Inherently negative actions are whether they do negative to others or bring negative results to yourself and others directly and without having to think anything. Example, killing. Killing is inherently negative. It from its own side is negative. So whether an animal kills another animal knowingly or not knowingly, there's karma involved. Whether a human being kills with premeditation or not, there's karma involved. The leverage or the strength of the karma is dependent on the motivation. But killing is inherently negative. Cheating on one's spouse is inherently negative. There is no justification in any way, shape, or form. It is inherently negative. Why is it inherently negative? Very simple. It creates pain. It creates pain in others. It creates pain in people you care or people that care about you. And it creates pain in yourself. Why? Because you habituate yourself to do more and more, creating more pain for other people. It's inherently negative. So when we cheat on our spouse, it's inherently negative action. Inherently related to the body. There are 3 negativities of the body that have to be avoided when we take refuge. And one of them is cheating on our spouse. Now, if we're not married, and the people we run around with is not married, and when we engage in copulation with them, I'm not saying it's okay, but it's not inherently negative. Don't say, oh my God, on the way out, I pass out condoms or something. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about inherent negative or positive. So if you don't have a partner, and the people you're engaged with doesn't have a partner, and you guys are together, that's up to 2 consenting adults. So whether your consenting partner, the factor is this, the factor is no one is hurt in this practice. No one is hurt. No one gets damaged, and that's very important. Some cultures believe that women don't matter, that women are there to just bring pleasure, and that women, doesn't matter if they get hurt. That's the way it should be. In Buddhism, they don't believe in that, and they don't respect that, and they don't agree with that. As I've explained before, definitely not in Buddhism. Why? Buddhism doesn't look at the sex of the person. Buddhism looks at the mind of the person and whether the mind is damageable or not. You can receive pain. That's it. So, since the mind can receive pain in Buddhism, male and female are equal. As I have explained before, in Tibet, it's very common for women to have 2 or 3 or 4 husbands. Very common. Men cannot, women can. Definitely cannot. Women can divorce men anytime and receive half the property. That's very common in Tibet. You see, in Tibetan Buddhism, female energy is very much admired and respected. Very much. That comes from the philosophy of not bringing harm. And females are considered a little more kinder than males because they're able to produce and carry and use their body in such a way that brings a lot of pain to themselves but gives life to others. So they're very much respected for that. Very, very much. It's a matriarchal society. And that's based on Buddhism. So therefore, if we have a partner, or we're with a partner, whether you're with 100 partners, or you're with one partner, the criteria is this. There's no moral rock throwing here, cannot. The criteria is very simple, and you take responsibility. When I engage with this person, do I harm them and myself? That's subjective, isn't it? Some people say, yes, if you run around with 100 people and you're having a good time with 100 people, one a day, it's harmful to yourself. I mean, that's subjective. You can catch disease and all that stuff, definitely. You can pass diseases. But my point is, we're talking about karma now. I want to focus on that. And so, if you're with another partner, see, religion or conservative types of Buddhism says, oh, cannot, that's bad, you do this, cannot. But look carefully. Who in this world, in a modern world, can just throw everything aside? Shave off their hair, okay, maybe one. Shave off their hair and go into a mountain. They say, okay, no good food, no sex, I'm not going to get angry, I'm not even going to wear my glasses because, I'm not attached anymore, so it doesn't matter if I can see in front of me or not. I'm not going to wear any nice clothes, I would just wear a potato sack, and it doesn't matter whether it's hot or cold. I'm going to hang out in the cave because I'm not attached, and I'm going to meditate on Tsongkhapa and recite this mantra until I'm enlightened. Or probably bust. Who can do that? It's impossible. So we have to find the middle way. People do have desire. People do need fulfillment at this level. People do need company. They need food. They need a nice place to stay. They need socialization. They need that. So if you say cannot, it's either can or cannot. What you have is a lot of guilt factor. You create religions that create a lot of guilt and a lot of fear and a lot of you're going to go to hell. And we don't need that. We have enough guilt. We have enough guilt. There's an American saying, you must have a Jewish mother. They say, yes, I feel very guilty. But it's actually a compliment because Jewish women are wonderful. Or a Chinese mother, that's a new thing too. They're kind of similar. But what's my point? My point is we have enough guilt. We don't need more guilt. So if we want to engage in intercourse with someone, we have to think, will this harm? We think, no, it doesn't harm. I don't know, whatever like that. And there should be no harm. But to say no or nothing, it's unhealthy. Why is it unhealthy? Because we're not with us. We're not the Virgin Mary. And what's with that Virgin Mary anyway? How can you be a virgin and have a baby? But never mind. I think it's more symbolic. She's very pure and clean. I think it's more like that. And anyway, why are you pure and clean if you're a virgin? These days, if you're a virgin, they go, you are? You. Doesn't make sense. What we need is something logical. So therefore, if you're going to engage in a partner and it doesn't harm the other person, it's okay. And in the spirit of Buddhism also, and you can use this for every example. But we're going to talk about this because we like to talk about sex. You like to hear it, and I like to talk about it, and it's legal because we're in front of the Buddha. And none of them are giving us any evil faces. So they're all happy, they're all smiling, and you're smiling, and I'm smiling, so we must be on the right path. We'll talk about things that we don't dare ever talk about in the church or temple. No, especially in Asia. Sex? You cannot talk about that. Oh, sex. It's not inherently bad. It depends on the motivation. So therefore, if you don't harm the other person, you can do things with them. You can do whatever you like. You can do it the normal way. You can buy leather. You can wear construction clothes. You can buy the stewardess outfit for your friend. Make her wear the stewardess outfit, although she doesn't want to, but you beg her, so it's all right. You can do it with, if you're a man, you can do it with, a few women. Sorry. You can do it with another man. Or if you want to be a woman and you want to do it with a man, that's okay too. If you're a woman, you want to be a man, you want to be with another woman, that's all right too. The criteria is you don't harm anyone. To put very restrictive rules on people that are unnatural, it's very difficult. Very, very difficult. To put restrictive rules on people that they can't carry out right now, It's very unnatural. When we take the refuge vows, it says no sexual misconduct. What does that mean? That means sexual conduct that would harm another being. So therefore, there's no fear about taking vows about no sexual misconduct. No. Why? It didn't say you can't engage in or that. But how? So when you take the Buddhist vows, you say you don't lie. What's so hard about that? Which of us is lying all the time? There's nothing hard about that. Nothing at all. And the Buddhist vow says don't kill. I mean, I don't think we have any Jack the Ripper reincarnations here, do we? I don't think so. We don't have Jack the Ripper reincarnations here. Then it says, don't create schism. I mean, look, all of us gossip a little bit here and there, don't we? We gossip about people in the office, we gossip about that person, we gossip about that guy, we gossip about why that guy's 50 and his new girlfriend is 18. We all gossip. We gossip why, if her hair is real, if it's dyed, that her chin's falling apart. I mean, we gossip all the time. We can't control that immediately, can we? But if we take a vow and we make a conscious effort, that's the beginning. Taking a vow doesn't mean after that you're a saint and you can't make any mistakes and you gotta walk the rest of your life on tiptoes on lotuses and not step in the mud. We're not like that. The whole country of Tibet was Buddhist. We lost our whole country. Why is that? Because everybody was pure and perfect? Of course not. Of course not. Definitely not. So once we take refuge, you think you have to be pure and perfect? No. But it's the beginning of you to become a better person. To make a conscious effort to take on those vows to say, I'm going to do something better with myself. When you take your vows, it is the first step to freedom. Why? Every day that you hold your vows, every single day that you hold your vows, is creating a positive potential, or let's use the ancient words, karma, to be free of the results of those vows that we hold. Example, when we don't lie anymore, people will listen to us, people will respect us, and what we say will be treasured by other people. Doesn't that feel good? So when we don't lie and we hold the vows, when we don't lie and we hold the vows, there's results. You're thinking, well, whether we hold the vows or we don't hold the vows, there are still karmic results, right? Yes, there is. But you see, most of us do not engage in negative actions such as killing and stealing. Most of us do not. We don't do things like that. So therefore, simply by existing every single day and not doing those actions do not create any positive karma. Why is that? If by refraining from killing, we receive the result of not killing. Example, if we don't kill, we get a long life. We are reborn with a pleasant body, a pleasant appearance that attracts, an appearance that commands respect, an appearance that is pleasant in seeing. We'll get that kind of body. And that is subjective in every culture. Why? We will reincarnate in whatever culture, we're reincarnating in whatever body that would be pleasing to that culture if we're going to be there. It's not one stereotype. That's illogical. So therefore, if you're born on Mars, they have one eye and one ear. Then you have one eye and one ear, you'd be beautiful there. Not here, but there. Similarly, if you go there, you'll be ugly. So my point is, from not killing, you'll have a strong body, a healthy body, a body that recovers, and a body that's attractive. Sikje Chembu Sena, with charisma. Very powerful to attract. Very powerful to see. When you walk down the street, walk anywhere, people have to stare at you and look at you. You'll have that type of body from not killing. That will be the result, a direct result. A very powerful result. So therefore, if you take the vow of not killing, every day that you don't kill, you will accumulate that type of result. Whereas if you simply don't kill and you don't take the vow, you don't have any type of result. There's no resignation there. There is no designation. There is no confirmation. None. You're simply refraining. Because if simply refraining from an action created positive karma, babies must create a lot of positive karma. Parrots must create positive karma. They don't kill. Herbivorous animals must create positive karma because they don't kill. No. Simply refraining from an action doesn't mean you're collecting virtue. Why? Because the intention is not there. Intention, motivation, intention, action, completion. Those four causes must be there for an action to have result. Motivation, intention, action, and confirmation. You're happy you've done it. If these are not there, it doesn't constitute an action. Similarly, if these are not there, it doesn't constitute taking a vow or getting a result. At the same time, it doesn't constitute breaking a vow. Breaking a vow must have intent, motivation, intent, action, and completion. Must be there to break a vow. So therefore you think, oh, I want to kill a person. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to get them. I'm going to kill him. And then you plan. Then you go and kill him. You do it. You finish it. Oh, I'm very happy now. Then your vow's broken. If you're driving down the street and you were careless for a moment and you ran over someone and you killed them, I'm sorry to use example. You didn't break your vow. Intention, motivation, action, completion is not there. You don't break your vow. During Buddha's time, there was a fabulous nun who was a great practitioner, a great meditation master. And she attended Buddha's talk. She sat with the Sangha just like every other Sangha, ordained person. And she didn't reside in a monastery in a nunnery. She resided in a cave. And she went there for meditation. But unfortunately, a group of bandits went there, invaded her cave, and raped her. And so when she attended the teachings the next day after that, she was still able to attend. Some of the other monks told her she can't sit up there with them. And she said, why not? They said, you're disrobed because you've engaged in intercourse. So the Buddha intervened and asked her in front of the Sangha and the people there attended for teachings, did you intend that? She said, no. When they engaged in the action, were you happy your vows are broken? She said, no. And after, when it was finished, did you think in your mind, oh, I wish to do that again? She said, no. Then Buddha says, you didn't break your vow. You are none. Please remain seated and attend the talks. So the other monks get quiet. So what am I trying to say? Is to break a vow or to take a vow, motivation or intent, action, completion must be all there. If it is not there, it doesn't constitute breaking a vow. Doesn't constitute. But that doesn't mean, oh, just because you're habitually inclined, so therefore you can keep on your habituations and never change yourself and never transform yourself at all, and you simply keep on doing what you've been doing before refuge, same after refuge. And that's not very good. So people are afraid of refuge or taking vows because they're afraid of challenging and pushing themselves to another level. They're very afraid of that. And what I want to tell people is, don't be afraid to challenge yourself. Don't be afraid to push yourself to another level. We all need an impetus. Sometimes we need a religious doctrine. Sometimes we need a teacher. Sometimes we come across a prayer. Sometimes we read another person's life story that's very inspiring. Sometimes it could be our very precious mothers. Sometimes it could be a school teacher that becomes an impetus for transforming ourselves. I'm not saying only by religious vows you can become a better person. No. But universally, religion is respected mostly. And religious vows are respected still in this world. Therefore, religious vows are more easier to associate with transformation. So therefore, if you don't have religious vows, it doesn't mean you cannot transform. Of course you can transform. Of course you can. But as I said, because religious vows are more associated with transformation, it's more easier to associate transformation with these vows. What are the vows for? The vows are a direct attack for our habituations. Our habituations are the causes of our imprisonment, are the causes of our suffering. All habituation,